My name's Justin Cueto. I am the Director of M&A and Strategic Finance for VMG Health. VMG Health is a healthcare consulting firm, and our M&A strategy is essentially filling gaps in our service lines for our healthcare provider clients, primarily across the United States. So I lead M&A. My role is comprised of sourcing, diligence, execution, and integration. We have a very lean M&A team. It's essentially myself, and I run point on the entire deal process from cradle to grave. So before DealRoom, we didn't have a dedicated M&A software platform. We were essentially executing deals using Excel, Outlook, Word documents, just the old school traditional way. And actually VMG had completed 5 acquisitions prior to me joining VMG. So they did a tremendous job of executing deals, roughly about 1 a year prior to me joining. But once I joined in partnership with our private equity sponsor, I knew that M&A at scale would be a part of the thesis. So in doing that, and I had been listening to M&A science for a while, I knew I needed some type of software to run the process, and that's how I got introduced to DealRoom. The reason why I was looking for a dedicated M&A platform was primarily because when I was trying to get up to speed on the deals that we had closed, I found myself going to a bunch of different areas, whether it's in an Outlook inbox, on a share drive, going to different files and trying to piece together what actually kind of happened with the deal in terms of the underwrite, the thesis, the risk, the mitigation plan. And I realized that I was wasting a lot of time kind of going and trying to find like all these different pieces to put the puzzle together. And the light bulb went off in my head and I said, I'd love to just go to one single spot, have like all the diligence requests, all the data, all the interesting things that happened with the deal, whether it be risk or mitigation or attraction. Prior to DealRoom, obviously we didn't have a single source of truth M&A platform for our deals. So I found myself wasting a lot of time, being inefficient, trying to get up to speed on the deals, up to speed on the investments that we had made, strategic rationale, the integration plan. And what I realized is that if we're going to do M&A at scale and acquire anywhere from 3 to 4 targets a year, we would be wasting a lot of time just piecing all the diligence requests together, having to go to a different data room to track data, and essentially tracking an integration plan on the side. So what I looked to DealRoom to do was essentially replace a junior resource on our team, to not have to have somebody that would be dedicated to facilitating information requests and coming up with an integration plan and trying to tie all the pieces together through the communication process. So we have on average anywhere from 5 to 7 people on our leadership team that are involved in integration, and that's the same team that's involved in diligence. So what we use DealRoom for is essentially a way to unify those two workflows, both from the diligence, the people, and then obviously the integration plan on the back end. DealRoom has changed our M&A process drastically. We are essentially using DealRoom for everything related to M&A. So from target sourcing, managing the pipeline, to initial pre-LOI diligence requests, to deal execution, and then integration on the back end. We've actually worked with the DealRoom team to customize essentially our deal management tracker all in DealRoom. So we can essentially look at all the attractions of the deal or the thesis, strategic rationale, why we're interested in the deal, and be able to tie those specific reasons back to data that we have saved in the VDR. And then likewise, from a risk perspective, we're able to tie specific risks that pop up in diligence to a mitigation plan. And that mitigation plan is also tied into integration. So we have pretty much a one-stop shop in terms of managing the entire M&A process, and everybody in our team has access to all the data related to the transaction with different levels of permission. So it's been very efficient in terms of getting everybody on one platform and having a single source of truth. So the most valuable capability of DealRoom for us is really the intersection of the diligence request list, the virtual data room, and the integration tracker. So prior to using DealRoom, we used to have to manage essentially 3 different Excel files with different data room locations that would be manually typed into each one. Now with DealRoom, we can essentially just have a single source of truth, have everybody log into the same place. We can tag different files. We can assign different workflows and requests to specific individuals and have pretty much everything all in one spot. So I get business sign-off from our CEO, who I work hand in hand with on all of our acquisitions, and essentially getting the approval to purchase DealRoom was pretty easy from an ROI perspective. We essentially use DealRoom instead of having a large, robust M&A team, and it's allowed us to generate a positive ROI on that dollar spend. I'm looking forward to using DealRoom to run M&A from cradle to grave. And I say that because we're in the final stages of building out essentially our deal management tracker, which allows us to manage all of our different risk mitigation plans and document in DealRoom all of the components of our investment thesis and the strategic rationale for deals. That way we can go back after the fact in 2027 and 2028 and identify what made deals successful, as well as where we could improve on our M&A process. I would describe DealRoom in one word as being a game changer.